Alright mates, how's it going? In today's video, it's part 2 of chapter 14 of Tied to Darkness by Aaron Rosenberg. Lots of twists and turns and howevers and buts in this video, maybe too many, but let's go! The hell is that thing? An ogre. A two-headed one. Turalyon was about to thank Khadgar for pointing out the obvious things that everyone could quite clearly see for themselves, but the beast then raised his hand, and boof, fire popped out. Oh shit. It's an ogre mage. You what? A wizard. A bloody ogre wizard. Great. Not only was this the largest, strongest beast that Turalyon had ever seen, but it casts magic as well. Fantastic. How the bloody hell were they going to kill this thing? However, before Turalyon could ask Khadgar that question, the two-headed ogre fell flat on its face and didn't get up again. And Illyria broke the stunned silence by cheering and raising her bow high in salute. My people have arrived. They have excellent timing. Right. Tell your people to spread out along the edges of the forest. We'll go the other way and do the same. Then we'll meet in the middle, crush the horde whilst also preventing their escape. Illyria nodded and then started doing all sorts of hand gestures towards the forest. Some kind of elf hunter sign language or something. And Khadgar turned to the human unit leaders and started shouting orders as well. Sometime later, both the human and elven forces had done the thing Turalyon suggested, and the fighting had now commenced. And Turalyon's plan was working out better than he'd even hoped. The orcs had only braced themselves for the charging human soldiers. They'd been caught completely unawares by the elven warriors from behind, and the alliance were actually winning, despite the fact the orcs massively outnumbered them. But Turalyon then heard a loud roar, and as he turned, his stomach clenched. More two-headed ogres. A whole bunch of them. Where the bloody hell were these things even coming from? Any ideas, Khadgar? Khadgar started to reply, but Illyria interrupted him. Listen. For what? Can't hear anything except fighting. What is it? Illyria then grinned. Help from above. It don't matter how big they are. The wild hammers can bring them low. What you waiting for, lads? I've shown you how it's done. Let's make sure the rest of these giants come crashing down as well. The rest of the griffin riders in the sky saluted and got to work, launching their own storm hammers and shiz, and Curdran waved down towards the mage, elfin commander below that he'd met back at Airy Peak. Or down there. Your Lord Lothar sent us. Just in time, looks like. The battle continued, with the Alliance forces filled with a renewed sense of vigour, thanks to the little muscly bearded reinforcements, whilst the orcs were now in full-blown panic mode. However, things were not over yet. The horde still had another thing up their sleeve. Something shifted in the wind, and Curdran glanced to see a dark shape gliding on the horizon. At first, he thought it was just another of his warriors, but then he realised it weren't no griffin. Was it a bird? Was it an airship? No. Dragon! One of the other wild hammers named Murkad looked where Curdran was pointing, and like a complete moron, he kicked his griffin, let out a fierce yell and charged directly towards the approaching monstrosity, and then disappeared because the dragon opened its mouth and ate him. Rest in peace, Murkad. More dragons then appeared in the sky, a whole gaggle of them, the colour of flame. By the light. Pull back! Away from the forest, now! Illyria looked at Turalyon, puzzled. Turalyon knew exactly what was about to happen, but there was absolutely no time to explain. Just do it! Tell your people to fall back towards the hills. Hurry! Something in his voice convinced Illyria, so she turned and signalled to the other elven warriors, and Turalyon raced towards the first human officer he could find, and then started to cheese it himself out of the forest. There was nothing else he could do except hope his orders had reached everyone. Just as Turalyon had suspected, the dragons swooped down and opened their mouths, and from those mouths poured fire and devastation. Do something! There's nothing I can do. I wish there was. Then you do something. Use your magic. But the old mage shook his head sadly. I'm still exhausted from the storm earlier. You could see the guilt and shame in Khadgar's eyes, but it wasn't his fault. I need to get to Silvermoon. My parents are there. I need to help them. I know, and I understand. But going in there now would only spell your death. My family. My lords. Please tell me they'll be alright. They're powerful magi. They'll shield the city from harm. Even the dragons won't be able to touch them. Thank you. You're right, Turalyon. My death now would accomplish nothing. Turalyon suspected Illyria was trying to convince herself of that, but she then glared at the dragons fluttering in the sky. But there's wood. The entire horde's wood. especially the orcs. They brought this destruction upon us. I will see them all suffer for it. We all will. Another elf, dressed in full beautiful war gear, approached, and the expression on his face seemed just as angry and vengeful as Illyria's had become. Lorthamar Theron, one of our finest rangers. And a second elf then approached, female. And this is my sister Sylvanas Windrunner, Ranger General and Commander of our forces. Sylvanas, Lord Theron, this is Sir Terralion of the Silver Hand, second in command of the Alliance forces. And this is Khadgar of Dalaran. Most of my warriors escaped the Inferno thanks to you. We cannot breach the flames, however, so we're trapped without, while our families are trapped within. But we cannot linger on such thoughts. We are here, and we must do what we can to save our people as quickly as possible. And that means destroying the forces threatening them. Your commander, Lord Lothar, sent word to us once before, asking for our participation in this alliance. My leaders chose not to respond beyond a token show of support. Sylvanas then glanced towards her sister, with a sort of smile on her face. Though some of our rangers took it upon themselves to lend aid to your cause. But my elders realised their error when the trolls and orcs invaded our lands. If Quel'Thalas is not safe from incursion, what is? They ordered me to assemble our warriors and march to meet you, and to render such aid as we could. We would be proud to join your alliance, Sir Terralion. I hope that our deeds henceforth will compensate for the tardiness of our involvement. Terralion nodded, and once again wished that Lord Lothar was here now. A champion would know how to handle this situation properly. Thank you. We welcome you and all your kin into our alliance. Together we will drive the Horde from this continent, from your lands and ours, that we may afterward live in peace and cooperation once again. Anything else Terralion had planned to say was then interrupted by a squawk from above, and Theron reached for his sword before realising that the descending creature was not a dragon, more like a poor man's chocobo. Sorry, lad. We tried, but dragons are a bit beyond us, I'm afraid. Thank you for your efforts anyway, Kurdran, and for your aid earlier. It saved many lives. Terralion then glanced around at everybody. Khadgar, Illyria, Sylvanas, Lorthamar Theron, and Kurdran Wildhammer. Good people. Good lieutenants. He suddenly didn't feel so alone or self-conscious anymore. Perhaps with these people by his side he could be a good leader, at least until Lothar returned anyway. We need to get our people out of here. We will return and free Quel'Thalas from the Horde, but right now we need to regroup and wait. I suspect the Horde isn't going to remain here for long. They have some other goal in mind. No idea what, but still. They'd taken the forest, driven the elves from their home, attacked Airy Peak, crushed Khazmodan. Where would they strike next? Where would he strike next if he were handling their campaign? What was the single biggest remaining threat? And then it hit him. Capital City. It made sense. From Silvermoon, the orcs could march over the mountains and directly into Lordaeron. The city had few defenders left, as most were already with the Alliance. Fortunately, marching over the mountains would mean making their way across Alterac first. Perinold was a bit of a douche, but surely he'd rally his forces against an invasion of his own lands, right? And we're leaving it there! Still another 8 chapters to go, but it's pretty much all just non-stop mental for the rest of the book. So hopefully that makes up for the fact that it's taking so long to get through this one. As usual, links in the description for the book, my Patreon page, my Discord, all of that stuff. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that bollocks. And all that's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!